So, linguistic anthropology has four classifications. These are structural or descriptive, historical, ethno-linguistic, and social-linguistic. Structural focuses on a specific language, on three main features of a specific language, which are its grammatical systems, meanings attached to the words, and its specific languages. So the next one, when we come to ethno-linguistics, ethno-linguistic, or also known as cultural linguistic, means relates or studies the relationship between the language and the culture of the people that speaks the language. The third one is historical linguistics, which deals with the emergence of language in general and how specific languages have diverged over time. So it studies not about a specific language, but the emergence of languages in general and how specific languages have diverged over time. The fourth one and last one is linguistics anthropology. Linguistic anthropology is also known as social linguistic. Generally focuses on the evolution of languages. It focuses on the evolution of languages. The fourth one, the fourth type of anthropology is socio-cultural anthropology. Social anthropology, also known as social anthropology or cultural anthropology. Socio-cultural anthropology is the largest, highlight this, the largest subfield of anthropology. It deals with human society and culture. It deals with human society and culture. Social cultural anthropology describes and analyzes and interprets and explains social culture and material life of contemporary human societies. So it studies and describe, analyze, and interpret, and also explain social and cultural and material life of contemporary human societies. So it studies the social human relationships, symbolic or non-material, religious, symbolic or non-material are such as religions, languages, and other symbols that can make human relate to each other, and material ones which are man-made objects, lives on lives of living people. So it studies in both the human relations that are symbolic or non-material and that are material for in the peoples of living peoples. So social cultural anthropologists engage two aspects of study. So let's highlight this because this could come in a test very much amount, because it is a really good concept, because we should know the difference between ethnography and ethnology, and there also would be another concept we will be discussing later. In social cultural anthropologies, there are two aspects of study. There are two specific aspects of study, which is ethnography, which studies cultures, social cultural are based on fields of work. Let's highlight this, based on fields of work. So ethnography is based on fields of work, and ethnology is based on cross-cultural comparison. So ethnography is comparing other cultures from another cultures to each other, and figuring out what the difference is and how they maneuver and how are they different. So but when you come to ethnography, is based on field of work. The ethnography provides a comprehensive account of particular community, society, or culture. So, as we said, ethnography is based on field of work. So, it provides a comprehensive account of a particular community, society, or culture. It describes the features of a specific culture. So, this is about specificity. So, it studies about a specific culture. When we come to compares different cultures to each other. But when you come to ethnography, it is only about a specific culture, and in as it studies in as much detail as possible, including their local behavior, beliefs, their customs, their social lives, economic activities, politics, and religions. These detailed descriptions, which are ethnographies, are the result of excessive fields of study, usually a year or two of duration. So, what we need to know is that ethnography is about specific cultures, and that it studies local behavior, beliefs, customs, social lives, economic activity, politics, and religions of that specific culture. But when we come to ethnology, is that it is comparative study. It compares one culture to another. So it's comparative study of contemporary cultures and societies. These are contemporary cultures and society where they may have been found. So it examines, interprets, analyzes, and compares the result of ethnography, which is focusing on one culture, specifically on one culture. It will take that study and gather the data of different societies and compare them. It uses such data to compare and contrast and make generalization about society and cultures. So the difference between ethnography and ethnology, that ethnography requires a field of work. You see, it requires a field of work to collect it, but ethnology uses ethnography, so it doesn't have to go to field of work. It uses data collected by a series of researchers that are these researchers are ethnography or ethnographic researchers. So ethnography also often is descriptive. It will go deep on the specific culture to explain its religions, political behaviors, systems, and all of this. When you come to ethnology, it will just only take that things and compare it to the to the other specific culture. So it is more it is usually synthetic. So when it comes to ethnography, it is a group or community specific, but ethnology is a comparative and cross-cultural. Unique basic features of anthropology. So what makes anthropology unique and different from other studies that are like almost related? So like archaeology is almost related to anthropology, but anthropology is more vast than archaeology. As we said before, archaeology is just a way of studying past people and excavating and analyzing material and cultural remains. This is a specific study on made for on studying people from the past. But anthropology, unlike archaeology, is vast than anthropology. And we will be looking at how it is different and unique. So anthropology is unique in its scope, approach, focus, and methods of study. So when we say by scope, it means it is vast. As we said, it has four subfields. It concludes the social-cultural anthropology, linguistic anthropology, archaeological anthropology, and also physical and biological anthropology. So it consumes all these subfields, that which makes it which makes it a big scope of study. And it has different types of scopes, different types of approach to on how it is performing its studies on specific cultures or linguistics or physical and biological. It has its own approach. It has its own focus and methods of study. So it is interested in all human beings, and whether contemporary or past, so primitive or civilized. As we said before, we've said this earlier, it is focusing on both contemporary or past. It is not limited by time, and also they are interested in many different aspects of humans, including the phenotypic characteristics, family lives, marriage, political systems, economic lives, technology, beliefs, health care systems, personality types, and languages. So it concludes all of this. As we said, it is a big scope of study because it concludes everything that can be related to uh, human beings and human lives, in its approach. Anthropology is holistic. We should highlight this because this could come in a true or false. Anthropology in its approach, it is holistic. So what do we mean by holistic? We will get back to it. It is holistic, it is relativistic and focused one. So when you say, what it means by this is anthropology can be holistic. It could study a whole, in general study, or it could be relativistic, which means it could be comparing some culture to another culture or some language to another language. So it could be comparing or relating these two cultures, and it could also be focusing on one. So as we said, this focusing on one can be on what we discussed on socio-cultural anthropology. This could be ethnography. This could be an ethnographic, and relativistic can be ethnology. Holistic can also be ethnographic in some ways, but focused on one means ethnographic, and relativistic means ethnology, as we said previously. So it could be all of this. It could study on a specific study, or it could relate and compare two different cultures or different languages or different peoples from different eras, or it could be holistic. It could be a general study on a specific thing. So accordingly, anthropology considers culture, history, language, and biology essential to complete understanding of society. So anthropology seeks to understand human beings as whole organisms who adapt to their environments through complex interactions of biology and culture. Anthropology is highly dependent on qualitative research. So qualitative research to understand the meaning behind any activity. So another important unique feature of its research approach is anthropology is highly dependent on qualitative research to understand the meaning behind any human activity. Extended field of work, participants observation in depth, and key informant interviews and focus group discussions are qualitative researches. So when we ask what are qualitative researches are extended field works, participant observations, in-depth and key informants interviews, and focus group discussions which are called qualitative research instruments. So we should highlight this. We should highlight on this one. So this is about ethnography. So ethnography, as we said before, ethnography people or ethnographers should go to the places, and extract any informations that could tell them about the specific language or culture. When we say if you say a specific language, we can use descriptive or structural linguistics, because that is about a specific language, so that needs an extended field of work. The other feature of qualitative research is participant observation. So they need to be a participant in all the cultural and social and linguistic. So in participant observation, as the name explains, they need to be a participant in all, gather and observe all the actions of the culture or the language or uh, etc. So in the third one is in-depth and key informants. In-depth and key informant interviews is specifically on interviews. So anthropologists must have in their qualitative researches have interviews with people of the community or the society that could know and give them data or informations about their cultures or what or everything. The fourth one is focus group discussions. For most anthropologists, field work is a process requiring them to tune in, hang out, and hang on to the societies and cultures whom they are interested to study. So they need to hang out on the people or the societies and cultures whom they are interested. The relationship between anthropology and other disciplines. So the relationship between anthropologies and other disciplines. Anthropology is similar with other social sciences such as sociology, psychology, political science, economics, and history. However, anthropology differs from other social sciences and their humanities by a broad scope, unique approach, and perspective, unit of analysis, and methods of use. For anthropology differs from other disciplines by five things, which are that anthropology is a broad scope and it has its own unique approach, and it is perspective and its unit of analysis, and that it is the methods it uses. In its approach, when we say in its approach, it different with its approach, anthropology studies and analyzes human ways or with, as we said before, holistic, comparatively, and relativistic manner. The perspective is also fundamental. When we say anthropology is perspective, we mean that it is empirical, naturalistic, and in its perspective, according to Richard Wilk, anthropology approaches and locates dimensions of people, individuals, and communal lived experience, their thoughts and their feelings in terms of how these dimensions are interconnected and interrelated to one another, yet not necessarily constrained on or very or orderly whole. The perspective is also fundamental, that it is empirical, uh, naturalistic, ethnographic, which is also mean particularizing, and nomothic, which also means universalizing. So in its methods of research, so let's just revise this. When we say methods used or methods of research, it is that anthropology is unique in that it undertakes extended field of work among the studied community and develops in intimate knowledge of life and social worlds of its study group society through employing those ethnographic data collection techniques such as participant observation, key informant interview, and focus group discussions. These are the qualitative research examples: participant observation, key informant interviews, focus group discussions. So The contributions of anthropology. So when it comes to contributions of anthropology, anthropology has contributed a lot. First, to the process of contrasting and comparing, we gain a fuller understanding of other cultures and our own. So by comparing the cultures of our current days to the cultures of our primitive human beings, we can understand the and we can understand and gain information about the differences. Uh, Also, anthropology helps us better understand ourselves in our own ways of life. Anthropology gives us an insight into different ways and modes of lives of human society, social cultural diversity, which helps to understand the logic and justification behind group behavior and cultural practices. Cultural anthropology. Cultural anthropology offers a unique perspective of how local cultures and are engaging with the process of globalization. Anthropology helps us to be more sensitive and appreciative of cultural diversities and variability. Anthropology helps us fight against prejudice and discriminations of and ethnocentrism. Anthropology is also used as a tool for development. Thank you very much for tuning in on chapter 1, introduction to anthropology. So we on our next video we are going to be looking at unit 2 on human culture and ties that connect